disgruntled employees who think they can do a better job than the person running the company. And it wasn't one company in my past, it was 4 or 5 companies that I was getting sick and tired of being sick and tired of the list is endless. No money, not paying on time, no communication, none of this, some of that, and it was just driving me absolutely crazy, okay? So I stamped my feet like I've never stamped my feet before and said, my university days, I took 64 3-hour exams over 8 years, passed them all somehow, and got 10 years experience, and was in the armed forces, and by the time I was 27 I felt like I'd lived 3 lives. I really put some effort and time into life. Then went into my own business for the first time, round about age 27. And since then I've always known something, that I always put in a good shift. Okay, I was always taught when I was in the coal mines, that's how I got into management of the coal mines, because I was a general manager's technical assistant when I was 27 in a mine of over 2,000 men, and that's not bad for a 26-year-old bloke, okay, to have that. And so the reason I actually got spotted and progressed up the ranks was because I sat there having a pity party one day on the end of a conveyor belt underground, because I was a management trainee taking exams at university, and I went down for this to work, and the guy in charge of the district stuck me on the end of a conveyor belt where coal's coming off it, and where coal goes off one conveyor belt onto another. You can't ever take your eye off that junction, because the conveyor belt loads at 8 tons a minute. Wow. It'll fill this room in no time at all and cut all the air supply off. So you have to have a human being with eyes on, looking at the end of that conveyor belt. How'd you like to sit and look at something for 8 hours? Right? Just look at it. I mean, your eyes are going like that. And I thought, I'm taking a degree in engineering. I'm better than this. I don't deserve to be down here. Boo-hoo, sucked my thumb. Right? And I'm all upset about it. And a friend of mine walked past me. He's about 10 years older than me, and he said, listen, whatever job they give you, make sure you do a better job than the person before you. Right? And he gave me a ticking off and walked off. Right? And I'm doing 2 fingers to him when he's walking off for telling me off. Right? And I thought about it for a minute, and I thought, okay. And I sat down at the end of that conveyor belt and looked, there was oil coming down the road. Long story short, I tidied the whole place up. And then one of the area managers, who runs about 5 or 6 coal mines, came on a flying visit and walked past the end of that conveyor belt, and he said, the last time I came here it was all sludgy and oily and horrible, and this guy's who's tidied all this up? And I said, I have. He said, oh, what's your name? Blah 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 blah. You go to college on day release. He turned around to the district manager and said, what on earth is he doing on a conveyor belt end? Right? I want him in my office. We're going to bring him further on. Because if he sits here, everybody else sits on the end of this conveyor belt and goes to sleep and moans about it. But he hasn't. He's gone and done something and improved everything. Taught me a lesson I've never ever forgotten. Okay, is I always put in a good shift. Okay, and you can't push a man who's running. Okay, I always run and run and run as hard as I possibly can. Okay, and that was the position I found myself in late spring this year. Okay, stamping my feet, very, very unhappy with people I'm not happy with, not in just the previous business, about 4 or 5 previous business in a line. Okay, and I thought, right. So I looked at the business, and this business had recruited over 1 million people in 17 weeks. I won't name it, but I looked at it and I thought, it's recruited over 1 million people in 17 weeks. And that got me very curious. How do you do that? What kind of viral invitation technique has introduced 1 million people? Okay? And I looked at it, and there was just something that came off the paper studying the business, because I wasn't really interested in what the business was selling. Okay? Not about what the business is selling, it's about how it works. And how it works was, there's a viral invitation technique, and it was free. free. Okay? So there's no resistance to joining because it's free. And then I looked at something else. I was Googling around, and it became apparent when I was Googling around, how much does it cost you to do a Google search?
Free.
It's free. Okay? I looked on product comparison sites, eBay. How much does it cost you to join eBay?
Free.
It's free. Okay? Now, you know, I'm not Einstein, but this word free was starting to get there. And then we looked at cartoons. Okay? When you're a kid, right, you walk in and you see the Warner Brothers symbol with Daffy Duck. Okay? Instantly, as a child, you think, goody, it's a cartoon. And embedded in every one of our psychologies is the love of cartoons. Cartoons cuts through cynicism like butter through a knife. Like knife through a butter, okay? Cartoons cut through that cynicism. Just checking you're listening. Okay? So, I thought, okay, I know the words, okay? But who knows how to do cartoons? I know somebody who's a very talented sound engineer with a wicked sense of humour, okay? He does things that just tickle your pink, right? It's like at the end of the second Beep cartoon, the guy on the sofa's ringing up, right? And there's all people piling in, he's going beep, beep. Get him to the phone, it's beep. Because you can hear, you can imagine in your head. That cuts across every language in the world, right? Because you can almost, you can't hear the person on the other end of the phone because they're going, what? What is it? What is it? You go, beep, beep. Just get them to the phone, beep. And I thought, that was ad-lib. That wasn't in the script. That was what the cartoonist put in for the sheer fun of it, okay? And there's, when they talk about, some of you will be financially free and never work again. Have you seen the little kid up the tree trying to knock the coconut on his mother's head? Right? That is just, ad-lib humour that this cartoonist brought in. So I rang up the cartoonist and said, have a look at this software. Do you think you could master this? Do you think you could do it? Yeah, I could do that. But it takes a minute a day. So if the cartoon's 5 minutes, it's 5 days to do that. And then the reworking and things like that. So it gets quite long-winded.